Georgia.
Good morning. I'm absolutely thrilled to be here with you today. Not just happy, but thrilled, because we're in the middle of what I call a construction disruption. All of the stars are aligning properly for us to really take advantage of emerging technologies that are advancing quite quickly, with a focus and lens on sustainability, and I'll talk about that a little bit later, and the investment that's especially happening in the GCC. So we'll talk about how we're working with Amar to embrace that collaboration spirit and the disruption to bring real-world outcomes. So first, a little bit about Innovo. You probably know us as ASGC. We've been a tier one builder in the GCC for 35 years, built a lot of the prominent skylines. A few years ago, we decided we wanted to make a big change, and we aspired to not just grow geographically and diversity of services offered, but instead of having technology and sustainability be underpinnings to our strategy, we wanted them to lead our strategy, which is the name Innovo is for innovation. So our mission kind of says it best there. It says we want to be pioneers in the built environment using cutting edge technology to help communities and achieve sustainable outcomes. So I won't go too much into the history because we've talked about this over the last seven years of this conference. But you know that our industry, construction and prop tech, has traditionally been underinvested. 1.2% in recent figures of revenue was invested in technology. It was seen as a necessary evil that cut from the bottom line. That has all shifted for obvious reasons of sustainability targets, sustainability, doing the right thing for the community. The build lifecycle creates 42% of the carbon footprint. So we really have to double click that, as well as the emerging technologies that are really, really advancing very, very fast. And again, the investment that's happening here. So we see what's happening. But the two things I want to really discuss here as we go into the solution with Amar are the reasons for not adopting, the bottom two on the left-hand side. So it's lack of expertise and fear of failure. So a lot of the early adopters of these new innovative technologies, they cast a wide net and they did several technologies. They hit on a couple of them, they missed on a few of them, and it hurt their bottom line in the end. So they didn't have a strategy of specifically which products to go after, how there would be complementary products to the rest of their estate, let's say, and to glean the best value out of those products. So if we go to today, and the fear of actually selecting products and how you would select products, there's a wide variety. If you look at the bottom, there are more new AI startups in the build and real estate space than there are in fintech. This is the first time that's ever been true. The investment is really, really here in our industry, which is why it's a great time to be us, either vendors, operators, builders, developers, because the investment is there. But how do you pick which technologies to use? It starts with a digital transformation. You should have a really good idea about which products you're using for which business processes, both back office as well as operational. So we've had a defined digital transformation strategy for the last 18 months. So as we look at these different products, another way that we look to select products, because there are so many really great innovative products these days, we're connected to a lot of venture capital companies across the globe, like brick and mortar in the United States, like Pi Labs and AO PropTech in the UK. And in addition to the startup companies under their umbrella, they do a lot of research and development of all of the competing products for the different functions that you're talking about. So leveraging their research and development, the embassies also are doing a really good job of positioning. The British Embassy, the Canadian Embassy are bringing us a lot of startups from their countries, and they're showing us the ones that might be most applicable here. So it's hard to decide which products because there's products that are crossing over in different spaces. But I'll give an example of the life cycle and collaboration. A lot of these products are building up to try to solve the entire life cycle of construction operations, let's say, but none of them really do it perfectly, let's say. They're getting there. If you look at Procore, Autodesk, N8, they're quite modular, and they've stitched a lot of great capabilities together, either by acquisition or by building capabilities internally. And an interesting one is Trunk Tools. So Trunk Tools is a solely AI-based platform that uses AI to turn unstructured data into structured data, and it's only for construction. So it's ingesting all of the RFIs, all the designs, everything across the project life cycle, and it's using AI specifically to learn more about those technologies. Wants to compete with the Procores and the Autodesks and the N8s. Eventually, let's see how they do. And we look at reality capture, which is the other thing we're going to talk about here today. There are a couple of different different levels of reality capture. One of them is more of a computer vision, where you wear the camera on your helmet. This is the Open Spaces and Hollow Builders. They're quite good, quite good innovative companies. If you want to go a little bit deeper into detail, which is what we're going to talk about, and using the LiDAR scanner, which takes a much more accurate picture down to the millimeter, you'll want to look at like Contilio, TwinView, and some products like that. I'll go a little bit more into detail on those products. AI is really, really important. Obviously, it underpins all the different parts of the project life cycle and adds value in a lot of different ways. So you see efficiency, cost savings, a lot of different products that are in this space, let's say, that are all building upon each other to bring consistent data to the different parts of the life cycle. But we can't forget that it's not just AI. The advancements in quantum computing is what gives the muscle to AI to really do its work. It's the 5G, 5.5G, as some companies have implemented, to get the data where it needs to go in a quick way and a wholesome way. It's also IoT and sensor technology that's able to process that data for different activities. All of these technologies are advancing very quickly now, which allows us to do much more than we've ever been able to do before. So let's get into our solution that we're going to be implementing at St. Regis. So it's construction management software plus, let's say, a digital twin. We're going with Procore, which is obviously, Tony was up here earlier. It's quite a well-known industry product. And we're going with Contilio, which is the digital twin product. Together, let's say we're looking at the Common Data Environment, the CDE, or it's called now in some ways a connected data environment, because there's so many technologies that are connected into this data environment. What it really is, though, is it's project operations. You start with a schedule, you start with a BIM, and then chaos ensues, right? You have thousands of workers working throughout the project. How do you track them with RFID? Productivity, safety, health and safety. How do you track the procurement operations that are happening? Supply chain issues that are happening. This common data environment is now powered by AI. So you're getting that data is being processed from all the different sources in real time. And then it's being, analytics and insights, recommendations are coming based on the different factors that are happening, from crane operations with computer vision, based on different IoT sensor activities. We'll talk about the digital twin in a second and how we're capturing that reality. But I thought I'd give you just a quick example of what we're doing at Masdar City. This is actually how a digital twin works. So you take a LiDAR scanner via a robotic dog, via a drone, via a regular scanner. You have your BIM design, you have your 3D design, and you have your schedule, and you're doing weekly scans. This technology is so mature that it's down to the millimeter that you can scan MEP, structural, everything is scanned. When you see something turn red, that's a potential clash. What do we mean by clash? 10 to 15% of construction, no matter how well it's planned and built, there's going to be rework that's required during the build cycle. So to streamline and shorten the cycle time, as well as to lower your carbon footprint, we find where the things are going to clash 2 weeks before they clash with the digital twin, because we've compared it to the actual built, the as-built, to the plan. Then AI helps us process those millions of data points, find out the ones that are most insightful, and we take action on either the design or we take action on the build itself to avoid those clashes that are going to happen. And then this data, in turn, goes into your common data environments that we talked about with your procurement activities, with your labor, workforce activities. And you'll see your 3D design go yellow, red, or whatever, depending on what the situation is. And the cost ramifications, the customer, the client, as well as the builder are all really in real time aware of all of the different ramifications of what's happening in the environment. And what we expect these two products together to give us, let's say from a productivity perspective, is visibility. You see the mobile app, you'll have visibility to everything that's happening in the project. Automation, digitization, valuation. So those numbers are significant when you talk about a 1 billion dirham project or a 2 billion dirham project to get that sort of productivity from these two products together. But also there's the sustainability pieces where you're lowering your carbon footprint. And I think the most important thing is the lessons learned, because the AI remembers what went well, what didn't go well. The next time you build a hotel or residences, you're going to know what you need to tweak even before you start building. This is the value of the reality capture. And no presentation would be complete without the life cycle of digital twin, right? We have to talk about it a little bit because it's such a fascinating subject. And I always look at the data that comes through the process, starting with the community development, and that's geospatial twin, as well as the topographical surveys, the ground penetrating radar, all these things for planning a community. AI is underpinning that. The design, of course, the BIM is being improved significantly via AI. We talked about construction reality capture, but there's a construction twin, and then there's also an operational twin. Construction twin is your reality capture, as we talked about, and the comparison. But the operational twin is where you take that data, you run simulations through it, and you give that to the operating, maintaining organization. So they have the insights as far as what's going to wear out faster than the others, other parts of that facility. They have all this information at their disposal when they start the project. The result is intelligent buildings, intelligent communities, smart cities, whatever you want to call them. But the result is a productive and sustainable end result product. And everybody wins from this, including the quality of life of the people who will be in those facilities. And my last slide is, it's really a pleasure to see everybody collaborating so closely together, the developers, the designers, the builders, the facility managers. And working with Amar is really, really a pleasure. For those of you who don't know, Faik, his doctorate is actually on this emerging technologies, as well as he's an amazing operating leader. So working with amazing innovation-focused people like that, leaders like that is really a pleasure. And we're going to change the future of construction and the smart cities and smart buildings because of these collaborations that we have together. Thank you.